programs, I think, are a real key if you want to hit your best time for a 10K, half marathon or marathon. Now, I've got called Liz in today to talk about her program. So Liz, come.
Hello. When I first started running, I couldn't run to the end of the road. So I've been running for quite a few years now. I've been going through quite a lot in my life recently. So I've been going through divorce. I've got 2 small boys. Don't have a massive amount of time. I have a full-time job. And I like my food and I like my wine. So I'm a bit of an embuggerance to Connor sometimes when he's trying to get me to follow my programme. In the new year, I started a new job. So I work for a charity called Cobalt, who do scans for people who have sports injuries, maybe had sort of cancer, that sort of thing. And within the new job came the new challenge. I had an opportunity to do a half marathon. So we're doing a half marathon to raise money for our charity. The longest I've ever run is 10K. So I did the Bristol 10K, but on average I tend to run probably about 3 to 5 miles, depending on what I have going on. And I do tend to be quite alone now when it comes to my running, so I'm not used to kind of running in groups or with other people. So that's kind of where I was at. I felt that I needed an extra push in order to reach a half marathon distance. And I felt that maybe going and running with a group would be a good idea. But when I started looking into the groups, a lot of them, they tend to go along to, I felt from what I'd read on the websites, they tend to go along to events to get like their personal best. They weren't really along the lines of kind of pushing me to do my distance and in a nice environment. And what I liked about this running club was that it kind of got back to me straight away. I was invited to come along to a run, which is quite daunting when you turn up on your own and you turn up at a gym, because I don't go to the gym. But everyone was really friendly, it was mixed, and I found that it was the right thing for me. And I like the fact that the distances seem attainable. So where Connor's talking about increasing your distances, regularly and a little bit at a time. I like the fact that we've got the app, because I live off my phone. I do social media and website and stuff for a living. So I find that I can log any of my exercises. If I can't do a long run or I can't do a particular run, and I end up doing a swim or I end up running a mile instead of 5, then I can log it on there. So it's realistic for me. And there's going to be weeks where I can't do it and where Connor probably gives me a big slap because the babysitters are not turned up or life's just got in the way or I've drunk too much wine. But the Thursday runs really encourage me, and I think they are helping me, in terms of my pace, and they're also kind of realistic. So last week I ran in the 10 group and I really struggled and I couldn't keep up. So this week it's like, right, drop back. And as Connor said, you can't expect. I've been to Lanzarote for a week and I slacked off for a few weeks, so I can't expect to be kind of back where I was. So that's kind of what I think, really. I really enjoy sort of running with the club, and I like the fact that I can go on a long, sort of evenly paced run at the weekends when I've got the time, because with 2 small boys that is quite hard, so sometimes I do have to kick myself and get up at like 6 o'clock in the morning, but the fact that I've got is nibs on my back and the fact that I come along to the group with you guys just really gives me that incentive.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Liz is very busy, busier than most of us, I would guess. And it's really important that every run that she does is working on the right stuff, right? And half marathon. This will be your first half marathon, Liz. Yeah. So I mean, distance is the most important thing. There's no point her being really fast over 5 or 10K. She needs to be able to know that when she shows up, that she can do the distance, and anything on top of that is a bonus. Okay, so priority. If you're working to build up your distance, is your long run. And then I tell a lot of people people who are following my programs, if you haven't made your long run on the weekend, then either you scrap Tuesday's club run and go and do your long run, or else you do the club run and add on what you're supposed to do from your program. Because that we need to make those muscles store the energy you need to then do the next step in the program. Okay, worst case scenario is that if you do end up having some time off, then we then need to adapt the program, and we know that we need to drop the distance back because you've not run anywhere near that in the last 3 weeks, and we'll maybe drop the speed back as well, but then we have to look at how we're going to build the distance back up to where it needs to be for that race. And this is where, you know, it effectively becomes an emergency situation sometimes, you know, and if it gets to the state where you need to be building up your distance faster than 3 kilometres per weekend, you know, so say you've got to you get an extra 10 kilometres into your legs before an event in say 3 or 4 weeks, that's when I'd actually be saying, right, we're just going to run twice a week. One of those is your weekend long run. The next one is your Wednesday long run. Okay, you've got 3 days to recover from one long run, and then you're going to step it up to your next long run. Nothing else matters. It's emergency distance training. Okay, and I think a lot of people find themselves in what should be considered an emergency training situation. They need to be getting distance into their legs, but they're too busy worrying about their speed and, you know, how fast they can run their intervals and things. And on race day, they just crash. You know, it's the worst feeling. I think, you know, not having enough distance in your legs, it would be the number one cause of people not liking running. You know, of falling out of love of running because they've entered an event, maybe as part of a free entry, as part of a charity, thinking, oh, that's a great idea. My friends are doing it, you know. And they don't take the training seriously, and they show up on race day and they hate it, and that's them gone. They won't do another half marathon, or probably they don't want to jog again for the rest of their lives, and that's a really sad story for me. But yeah, that's it for today. Any questions?
What about running to music? So you used to run and have music on, and then you're not that reason not allowing headphones, and if you're used to running to music and you have to then do without, that's really tough.
Yeah. We don't want music to become your crutch.
No.
You know, like I think there's something nice about, you know, being out there on the road and being able to chat to people when you've got the lung capacity to do so. It's a real preference thing. Obviously, there's the safety factor if you're crossing roads and stuff, but yeah. I don't think there's anything wrong. I've run with music. It's fine, you know, if that's what you want to do at the time. But I wouldn't want it to. You have to rely on the rhythm of the music, or, you know, to get you round.
How do you gauge how fast you're running? That's
fun.
never occurred to me. I've never been able to do that. Or I'm doing miles an hour or whatever it is.
Yeah. So the cheapest way to do it would be a track, or 400 meter track. Or like the Honeybourne line has a marker every 500 metres, or even 100, I think it's every 100 metres. So that can tell you how far you're going, if you go up and down or round and round.
So then you need to have a watch to say, okay, right, well...
so that's the ideal.
Markers.
No. So for me, the idea... Oh, you asked about speed, sorry. Yes, no. So if you know the distance you're going and then you know the time, so a basic stopwatch will tell you the time that's taking you to run the distance, and then you can work out your speed. Right. But that's the hard way. That's the old way.
What does that mean? Is it a feeling?
For very experienced runners, yeah, it'll just be a feeling. There'll be a lot of people. I'm about to talk about GPS watches, and a lot of people, you know, have been running all their lives and say, what do you need that for? You should just be able to feel it, and that's fine. You know, you can learn what 10 kilometers per hour is, and, you know, what feels right. But I think for most people, you want to have either a GPS watch or a cheaper version is an app on your phone. So you strap your phone to your arm, and, you know, you can try and check your speed every now and then. But for me, a watch is the easiest. One day it'll be sunglasses. It'll just tell me my speed in my sunglasses. But for now, the old GPS watch works fine. 70 quid you're looking at, you know, it's not a huge investment. Shoes, GPS watch, clothes, and that's it. Any other questions? Look at that, 6:30. Thanks, guys.